Hello, here we're with Craig Davies, part of TourCouncil.com. We're going to ask Craig Davies, who's been a strength and conditioning coach out here for probably 8 years. So a couple questions about what he does with his players prior to their start of their round. Craig, what do you do to get your players ready for the start of their round?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question actually, because I like to take the warm-up and make it part of the player's transition from, personal life, non-golf life, and bringing them back into the world of golf, which is really for them, it's a job, and a lot of times it's hard to separate the job from personal life. Golf is a very holistic sport, really encompasses all aspects of your life, all aspects of your physicality and performance. So I like to take it where not only are we working on warming up the body and getting the core temperature warm, which we're obviously doing in the warm-up, but using it as a way of taking mentally the player from here, which is the real life, and bringing them back into this kind of fictional world that is golf, and what is required from them to be optimal performing-wise inside the golf ropes. So to do that, we encourage them to enjoy whatever music is required in order to bring them from a high mental energy output back to where they can focus in a more comfortable zone, and alternatively, if they're coming in feeling very sluggish, kind of music that brings, specifically for that player, brings them up again into that comfort zone where they can perform optimally with their mental acuity and also physical performance. So that's obviously different than what you'd expect, I would mention, from a warm-up standpoint, but I really think that's an important aspect of a warm-up, and anyone at home can use that too. If you rush to the course, you get out of your car, head into the locker room, totally stressed from the day, totally stressed about being in line of cars, and then all of a sudden you need to go to the first tee, you've only got 40 minutes. Well, most guys will go to the range and beat balls for 40 minutes, but the problem is their body and their brain aren't wired in yet to compete in golf. So they're just encouraging bad pattern development over that 40 minutes. Or if they take 15 minutes, get their body warmed up, use that time while they're getting their body warmed up, getting the right muscles activated, motor patterns created, and use that time also to refresh their brain to get them ready to zone in on their golf performance. So for me, that's one of the big things, a little bit off the cuff and a little different than what you're probably expecting as an answer, because we're not talking about the physicality, but I think the mental performance and dialing them in mentally is the key.
Very interesting. That is a different answer than I would have expected. I do like the way you touch on the mental aspect, though. One quick follow-up on that is, so if you did have, say, 15 minutes as an average player, what would you utilize? Is there specific things that you could utilize that help use that time efficiently before you get on the course?
Yeah, well, if we assume that, for the most of the population, at some point in their year they're going to be starting to play golf, and it's going to be a cool environment, cool conditions. I think initially we're just raising your core temperature, whether that's being on the bike or just going for a brisk walk or doing something just to get your body ready to take on the exercises that are required in the warm-up. I think that's key initially, and then what I think is very important is to perform as many full-body exercises as possible that encourage the motor patterns that you're trying to utilize in the golf course, so that you don't have to just think about swing when you're making body changes that are going to help you technically. You can also encourage those patterns in the warm-up, which then when you get to the range will already be dialed in, neurologically more likely to occur. The other thing I think is important is to really work on the mobility aspect of anywhere you're lacking. Use your warm-up to increase the function of the tissues and the joints to be able to do the movements you're doing out on the golf course or out in the range, so that when you're working with your technical instructor or practicing, you can actually move in the positions that are required, or if you don't do the warm-up, a lot of times you don't ever get there.
Excellent information, Craig. Thank you very much. Once again, TourCouncil.com.